Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome to the temple. We begin our service singing together Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom.
Ma Yafeh Hayom? Ma Yafeh Hayom? Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
So we always open our service with an opening song, but that's actually not the traditional Jewish prayer. The traditional Jewish prayer is to open the service with what comes next at our prayer, which is Ma Tovu. And in a way, this is kind of an introduction or a trigger to what we're going to hear when we read from the Torah today, because this is part of our Torah portion. And the big question there is, you know, it's kind of a fascinating thing that is happening in our Torah portion. There's a magician who is also a prophet. His name is Bilam, who is hired to curse the people of Israel, to curse us so we won't be able to conquer the land of Moab. And instead, he blesses us, and we chose to open our morning service not only on Shabbat, but every day of the week. You can find it on page 172 in our prayer books, singing the words of Bilam to the people of Israel. And I think that the real question that we should ask ourselves when we read from the Torah is, why is God choosing Bilam of all people, not a positive figure, to be the one blessing the people of Israel? And why did we choose the words of Bilam to be the opening thing, the way we open our prayers? And with that in mind, we go to page 172 to sing together Ma Tovu.
Ma Tovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishinutecha Israel.
And we rise as we turn to page 195 for the Berlow.
Baruch Adonai, Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
ברוך אתה, אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל, המאיר לארץ ולדרים עליה ברחמים, ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית. מה רבו מעשיך, אדוני, כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלאה הארץ קנייניך. תתברך אדוני אלוהינו, על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפארו חסלה. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מארה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning, my Torah, my special human gift is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer Ameorot. We turn to page 200 for the calling of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivon Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. Bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be a symbol between your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise, and when you rise.
And we turn now to page 204 to sing together Mi Chamocha.
ניחמך. Just give me the chord. ניחמך, one back. Once. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורות תהילות עושה מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זילי ענו, ואמרו אדוני
Now for the tefillah on page 205.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Source of all being, we turn to you as did our people in ancient days. They beheld you in the heavens, they felt you in their hearts, they sought you in their lives. Their quest is ours. Help us to see the wonder of being. Give us the courage to search for truth. Teach us the path to a better life. So shall we, by our lives and our labors, bring nearer the world we envision, one of justice, freedom, and peace. Baruch ata Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. You are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the door frame, I begin to enter into your glory. You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you. In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions waiting to be posed. They filled me with wonder. Sit with me, Eternal Teacher, encourage my seeking. As I fill my hours with your mitzvot, so shall I be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing out this wonder, enriching myself in the giving. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch ata Adonai, mechaye hakol.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 יכתיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכינו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהים, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד קודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch ata Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated.
ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, וקורא עונג שבת. רצית בו וקידשת שבת, חינוך יומי אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמרי 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 שבת, Oneg Shabbat.
We turn to page 216 for the Pray for Shalom. O God, may we never become complacent, faltering in our effort to build a world of peace. Let the nations know and understand that justice and right are better than dominion and conquest. May all come to see it is not by might nor by power, but by your Spirit that life prevails. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch ata Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uveracha, chin v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom, sim shalom.
We turn now to page 253 for the blessing for healing and courage and strength in our lives, the Misha Berach.
Mi sheberach avotenu mikor habracha li'imotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mikor habracha laotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
And we turn now to Seder Kriyat Torah LeShabbat, the order of reading from the Torah on Shabbat on page 244.
In kamocha va'Elohim Adonai, v'in kimasecha, malchutecha, malchut ka'olamim, u'memshaitecha b'kol dor v'dor. Adonai
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So before the blessing, I just want to tell you we're going to read the blessings of Bil'am to the people of Israel, the blessing that are instead of curses that he was hired to. So it's on chapter 24, from verse 3 onwards, that we're going to read. That's all assuming that I will be capable of finding it. But, yes, here it is. And first we'll go to page 200 and... No, first we're doing the Shema, sorry.
There we go.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Our God is one, Adonai is great, holy is God's name.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Lecha Adonai Hagidula V'Hagivura V'Hatifirit V'Hanitzach V'Hahod Ki kol bashamayim uvaretz Ki kol bashamayim uvaretz Lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'yamid nasi lichol lirosh.
And we turn now to page 250 for the blessing before reading from the Torah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
וישם השלו ויאמר, נאום בלעם בן באור, ונאום הגבר סתום העין, נאום שמע אמרי אל אשר, נאום שומע אמרי אל, אשר מחזה שדי יחזה, נפל וגלוי עיניים. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, כנחלים נטו, כגינות עלי נהר, כאוהלים נטע אדוני, כארזים עלי מים. יזל מים מדלייו וזרעו במים רבים. וירם מהגג מלכו, יתנשא מלכותו אל. מוציאו ממצרים, כתועפות ראם לו. יאכל גויים צרה ועצמותיהם יגרם, וחציו ימחץ. כרע שוכב, כארי וכלביא, מי יקימנו? מברכך ברוך ועורריך ארור. Taking up his theme, he said, Word of Bil'am, son of Beor, word of the man whose eye is true, word of him who hears God's speech, who beholds visions from the Almighty, prostrate but eyes unveiled. How fair are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. That's the Matovu Alecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Israel. Like palm groves that stretched out, like gardens beside a river, like aloes planted by Adonai, like cedars beside the water. Their boughs drip with moisture, their roots have abundant water. Their king shall rise above Agag, their kingdom shall be exalted. God who freed them from Egypt, is for them like the horns of the wild ox. They shall devour enemy nations, crush their bones, and smash their arrows. They crouch, they lie down like a lion, like a king of beasts. Who dare rose against them? Blessed are they who bless you, and cursed they who curse you. So, it's fascinating that we read the words of this prophet, of this magician, as the opening words of our prayers. And it's fascinating that God chooses Bilam to be the one blessing us. So asking and dealing with that question, Rabbi Jonathan Zaks of blessed memory said the following, and I think his interpretation is as good as any interpretation, but it's a very beautiful one, so I wanted to share that with you. He quotes the book of Proverbs, who says, "Let a stranger praise you and not your own mouth." Let the praises of someone who's not you, and actually is your enemy, be the one praising you and not coming from your mouth. And one of the fascinating things in the Torah and in the Bible is it's our book, and we don't come out that great out of that book. I don't think any other people or nation in the world has a foundational story that they are so belittled in that story. It is so hard to find nice things said about the people of Israel in the entire Bible. And here it comes from someone who is actually our enemy. But I want to add to what Rabbi Zach said, and have another thing that I think might be a relevant and a modern meaning to our congregation, to our community, and to our people. You know, it's very interesting that we come to the house of worship, we come to the synagogue, and we say, "Ma tovu alecha," how wonderful are your tent. We're not praying in a tent, we're praying in a building. We also are not praying in a tent, and yet, when we are quoting praises said about house and about actually the houses of worship, we say Oel, which is a tent, and Mishkan, which is the sanctuary in the desert, but it didn't look like this sanctuary. It actually also is a movable tent. So maybe what we really need to think about is what is the difference between a home and a tent? And what makes a house and a home that is very different from a tent? So one of the things that you have in a home that are very important, especially here in the United States of America, is that you have doors and locks. And you can lock your home so you will feel secure, so no one else can enter your home. And actually in America we even invented a more, we upgraded it in a way, if you look at it as an upgrade, and we even invented a gated community. Or in big apartment buildings we have a door person at the door watching that no one can come in, and we have security system watching that no one can come in, and we have intercom that only people that are invited can come in. And all of that does not exist in a tent or in a removable sanctuary. At least the tents that I've lived in during army service, they were open. Anyone can enter. You had no control on who enters and who cannot enter. So maybe when Bilam looks at the people of Israel, as he was sent actually to curse us, but he blesses us. And verse 2, the verse before what I've read, says that Bilam looked at the people of Israel and the spirit of Adonai was upon him. And then he said, "Ma tovu alecha," how beautiful are your tents. So that's the message that comes with the Spirit of Adonai. So maybe the Spirit of Adonai is saying to him, the people of Israel are blessed when our houses of worship especially don't have doors that are locked from certain people and only open to people that we know and feel comfortable inviting to our house. Maybe the real dwelling places that are blessed are the ones that are open for everyone. So maybe Bilam and Adonai, and maybe it's just a 21st century take on that, are seeing the most important blessing in a religious community, in a Jewish community, is to invite everyone, to include everyone. Let's say the blessing after reading from the Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Please rise.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael. Al pi Adonai biyad Moshe, biyad Moshe. Al pi Adonai biyad Moshe, biyad Moshe. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael.
And we turn to page 283 for the Aleinu. Please join me as we read together. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else.
קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. We haven't done this for 15 months now, lifting up the Torah. It's exciting. We turn to page 287 to read together. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember especially John A. De Angelo, Shirley Tanchester-Riss, Leon Hirsch, Hilda Present, Eva Levy, Annalie Jaffe, Jerome Lawrence Markovitz, Regina Markovitz, Charles Strike, Molly Taslit, Francine Natowitz, Ruth Weinstock, Annette Liebman, Eleanor Young, Thomas Esri, J. I. Essig, Ethel Hendler, Milton Matalow, Gerta Schwartz, Libby Wenker, Sol H. Becker, Maurice Coleman, Zeiger, Annette S. Zeiger, William A. Plank, Kurt Norton, Doris Lansky, Jerome Kaufman, Martin Berg, Fred Hamel, Bernard Cohen. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. And with the blessed memories from our loved ones in our hearts, we rise as we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Please join me. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל בני אדם ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה, may the memory of our loved ones come to be a blessing and a benediction. Amen. Our closing song is עושה שלום.
שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו על כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו על כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו על כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אמותינו, שתוליכנו לשלום. May it be your will, Adonai our God and God of our ancestors, that you guide us on the paths of shalom, of well-being and wholeness and peace, and that you protect us from all harm and evil on our way. Bless the work of our hands and grant us grace, loving kindness and compassion in your eyes, in the eyes of everyone who sees us. Adonai Shalom, bless us with the Shabbat of Shalom. Shalom to our bodies, to our minds, to our souls. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And please say Shabbat Shalom to someone you don't know. And there are still goodies in the library if you need something sweet when you are driving back home. Shabbat Shalom.
Amen.